that consensus had been reached. The Baltimore Ravens, were planning to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with the 141st overall selection. But when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens that he preferred not to go to a place where he would be competing and backing up Lamar Jackson. He wanted to be in a place that he could play. And so when the Ravens got that message, they pivoted, went a different direction with the 141st overall selection. And 3 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, who will be in Baltimore today, where he could have been spending his NFL career if he were willing.
Sanders just spun the NFL rumor mill on its head like a quarterback tossing blind passes straight into wild conspiracies. Word on the street is he told the Ravens, thanks, but no thanks, and now the league is buzzing like bees in a busted hive. Did he really swerve Baltimore? Or is this just another off-season soap opera built to keep us glued to our screens? Either way, the drama is juicier than a stadium hot dog drowning in neon yellow mystery mustard. And here's the kicker. The Cleveland Browns, yes, the same franchise that has turned quarterback dreams into running jokes and playoff hopes into ash, are suddenly right in the middle of it all. The headline blasting across timelines, Shedeur Sanders supposedly told the Baltimore Ravens not to draft him. You heard that correctly. A quarterback, the very position known for praying not to land in Cleveland, allegedly curved an entirely different team with swagger. And not just any team either. We're talking about the Ravens, a squad with a real playbook, a true identity, and the hardware to prove they're legit champions. So the burning question becomes, why in the world would Shedeur wave Baltimore off like some desperate match on a dating app, only to stroll willingly into the Bermuda Triangle of quarterbacks known as Cleveland? That's like skipping out on a Michelin star dinner only to settle for reheated leftovers from a gas station microwave. It's bold, it's confusing, and somehow it feels perfectly on brand for this circus of a storyline.
Shedeur Sanders' response to it all, dog. Let's pull it up right now. Porter had asked Shedeur Sanders about the ESPN report. He stated, I didn't even know about it until you just told me. And then they asked, was he surprised by the report? He stated, it don't even serve purpose in my life. So that was Shedeur Sanders speaking about the incident that occurred this morning. And just like I stated, I recorded a video. Let's plug it in right now. Now, as the Cleveland Browns is set to face the Baltimore Ravens today, multiple things came out. Shedeur Sanders has been listed as inactive.
Let's keep it real. The Browns don't exactly roll out a red carpet for quarterbacks. They roll out a revolving door. They treat QBs the way folks treat cheap coffee cups. Grab one, sip it till it's lukewarm, then toss it straight in the trash. Cleveland has collected quarterbacks like they're running a clearance sale. One broken, one benched, one bruised. It's like Oprah gone wrong. You get a quarterback, you get a quarterback, everybody gets a quarterback. Only for every single one to limp away, confused, injured, or permanently scarred. So when reports surfaced that Shedeur allegedly told the Ravens to back off, fans everywhere had their jaws on the floor. Because let's be honest, Baltimore is exactly the type of franchise you'd expect a young star to chase after. They've got Lamar Jackson, a winning system, and a culture that doesn't turn every Sunday into a blooper reel. Passing on the Ravens is like saying no to a Tesla just to hop on a rusty bike with 2 flat tires. Wild, reckless, and impossible to explain. And here's where the soap opera cast really shines. The Browns, the Ravens, Shedeur, even his dad, Dayon.
That Shedeur Sanders was supposed, yes, you're about to hear me, supposed to be a Baltimore Raven, but allegedly, I got to put a big allegedly on this. Allegedly, Coach Prime and Shedeur turned it down. They did not want to back up Lamar Jackson. Guys, this is a major, major story. And what's crazy is, why are we just now hearing about this? Why is this just now?
All circling in this drama that's somehow more entertaining than half the games Cleveland plays. But let's pause and remember, this is Cleveland. If Shedeur truly waved off Baltimore, then what he really chose was chaos. Signing with the Browns is like volunteering to be the drummer in a band where the guitarist is always out of tune, the bassist is wasted, and the lead singer keeps forgetting the lyrics. Pure madness. You can bang the drums and keep the beat steady all day, but when the band is out of tune, it's still gonna sound like a full-on train wreck. And yet, here's the twist. Shedeur doesn't seem fazed by the madness one bit.
Looks like Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders was asked about the Adam Schefter report that he told the Baltimore Ravens he don't want to go there, don't draft him or whatever because he doesn't want to play behind Lamar Jackson. So it seems like his answer was like he's focused on the now. He ain't worried about the past. Yeah, he's only worried about what's going on where he is, which is the Cleveland Browns third-string quarterback, and he's focusing on.
He looks like he's actually leaning into the chaos, embracing it, almost as if he truly believes he can be the one to rescue Cleveland from its own cursed history. That's both hilarious and tragic because if we're keeping score, the Browns don't get saved. They ruin saviors. They've turned bright careers into blooper reels filled with missed throws, dropped passes, and fans screaming into brown paper bags like they're at a stress therapy session. Sure, it's the kind of circus that makes for incredible headlines, but part of you has to ask, is Shedeur trolling the entire NFL with this move? And we can't ignore the shadow in the background, Shedeur Sanders.
Made that decision. I want to go compete for a job and get out there and play as a rookie.
Yeah. I think this is insane, right? Like, if this is true, I think this is crazy, right? At this point, you're in the 5th round. I understand you had higher hopes, but you've dropped to the 5th round, and you're thinking about being a starting quarterback the next year. I think this is incredibly short-sighted. Like, if you're in this situation, you want to go to an organization that is going to develop you, right? Here you have the Baltimore Ravens, the model of stability in the NFL. This regime's been together for how many decades now? And actually has a track record to develop quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, Lamar, right? Instead, you choose the Cleveland Browns because you think you have a chance to start the next year. And mind you, the Cleveland Browns, who are on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to stability, right? This is the same organization that walked away from Baker Mayfield as the #1 pick in the draft.
You know he's somewhere behind the curtain pulling strings, hyping his son like this whole saga is just another episode of The Dion Show. Think about it. The man is basically the NFL's answer to Kris Jenner, only instead of reality TV empires, he's trying to build a dynasty out of football legacies. And you can't convince me Dion didn't sprinkle at least a little influence into this whole thanks but no thanks to Baltimore. He's got fingerprints all over this play, and that's exactly where the irony comes crashing in. Like a linebacker reading the wrong play, Shedeur might have thought telling the Ravens no put him in control of his own destiny. But in reality, he just opened the door to even more chaos. Because let's keep it real, every single time he throws a pick in Cleveland, and yes, it will happen, the internet is going to light him up with reminders.
All right, but let's talk about it. So now the conversation is why Shedeur didn't want to get drafted to Baltimore. Bro, y'all can't be serious, bro. Y'all really cannot be serious. All right, so let's talk about it. So I guess the Baltimore Ravens were going to draft Shedeur in the 5th round, right? They're going to draft him in the 5th round. And Shedeur just told him straight up, like, look, Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP. You know, this, that, and that. I don't have a shot at playing.
You could have been in Baltimore. The memes, the hot takes, the what ifs. They're all waiting. And NFL fans live to feast on that type of drama. Now picture the alternate timeline. In Baltimore, Shedeur would have been sitting behind Lamar Jackson. Backup life, sure, but in a system that actually wins games. He could have learned, grown, breathed without the weight of a cursed franchise on his shoulders. Maybe, just maybe, he would have dodged the fate of becoming another late-night punchline in the endless reel of failed quarterbacks. But Cleveland, their fans are wild enough to truly believe he's the one. They're starving for a savior, desperate for someone to finally make them forget the long trail of broken QBs they've burned through. They're treating Shedeur like the chosen one, the gridiron messiah, the man who can break a curse older than some of the players on the roster. And here's the kicker.
He's someone who wants to compete, someone who sees himself as a first-string quarterback. Why would he want to go somewhere where Lamar Jackson is fully entrenched as the Baltimore Ravens quarterback for the next, who knows, 5, 6, 7 years, probably as long as he wants to be the quarterback. Why would he want to go there and sit behind Lamar Jackson and never have a chance?
This isn't new. Cleveland has been recycling that same tired script for decades. Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel, Colt McCoy, and about 20 other names collecting dust in the graveyard of Cleveland football. The comedy isn't just that Shedeur supposedly told the Ravens to back off. It's that he actually seems to believe he can succeed, where so many others have crashed and burned. That confidence? Admirable, sure, but also downright hilarious. Because if Cleveland has taught us anything, it's that swagger only lasts until the offensive line caves in like a cheap tent and your ribcage turns into a crash test dummy for every hungry defender in the league.
That Shedeur Sanders could have been a Baltimore Raven. The Ravens were actually going to draft him, and Shedeur made it known, nah, I'm not trying to play for the Ravens. Y'all already got a star quarterback. I won't see the field. Ironically, if he did go to the Ravens, he'd be in the same situation, not playing. But do y'all think he made a mistake by doing that? Do you think he could have learned a lot being somewhere that wanted him, being behind an all-time great, yes, all-time great in Lamar Jackson? Truthfully, I don't really know why this was announced now. I mean, I guess they're about to play, so I guess that's why. But I don't think it's a bad thing that Shedeur did that. It doesn't make any sense for him to think that he's the talent that he is, that he could play for a team, help a team, be behind, again, one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Now let's really break down why Baltimore would have been the smarter play. In Baltimore, Shedeur could have been a hidden gem, groomed quietly under Lamar's shadow, sharpened in a system that actually knows how to win. Then when the timing was right, boom, unleashed like a secret weapon. But Cleveland, oh no, there's no hiding there. He's standing under a spotlight hotter than Broadway, where one bad throw, one ugly game, and suddenly he's trending on Twitter for all the wrong reasons. And here's the kicker. The Ravens probably weren't even sweating this saga. Baltimore isn't starving for quarterbacks. They're stacked with talent and stability. Meanwhile, Cleveland is banking on hope and hashtags, forgetting that curses don't break because of belief. They break because of real teams with real systems that actually know how to win. So here we are. Shedeur Sanders, the Browns' supposed savior.
Came out that Shedeur Sanders didn't want to get drafted by the Ravens. Of course, people are acting like he's stupid for making that decision. But have y'all not heard of Lamar Jackson? Shedeur wouldn't have had any playing time in the foreseeable future. Y'all just hate Shedeur.
Allegedly swerving Baltimore just to sprint headfirst into the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL. And honestly, that's what makes this so entertaining. Because no matter how it ends, the story is priceless. If he pulls it off, he's a living legend who rewrote football history.
Obviously, he saved this one for Ravens-Browns Day, but he reported that the Ravens were planning to draft Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with pick number 141. And before the Ravens could turn in the card, I guess Shedeur's people basically just made it be known they want to be nowhere close to a roster with Lamar Jackson, which I can't hate. I see a lot of people early on in this, they're trying to just use this as some sort of, let's throw Shedeur down, he shouldn't be this picky, this type of thing. It's like, guys, I don't know, even if you're going as a backup, I don't know who wants to be the backup.
If he flames out, he's just another tragic punchline in Cleveland's never-ending comedy of errors. And deep down, let's be real, we're all secretly rooting for both outcomes at the same time. That's the true win here. Cleveland fans are treating this whole Shedeur told the Ravens no story like it's the plot twist in some romantic comedy, as if he sprinted away from Baltimore at the altar and ran straight into Cleveland's arms because his true love was brown and orange. Please, the Browns aren't the mysterious soulmate you leave everything behind for.
Baltimore Ravens said they had planned to draft Shedeur in the 5th round, but they had got word when they was putting their card in to draft him, they got the word that he didn't want to go there because he didn't want to back up Jackson in Baltimore. Yeah, man, there's some stories coming out. They're trying to simmer this down on what happened to this kid on draft day. Like I said, either he got some bad information or somebody lied to him because he was under the impression that he was going no later than the 2nd round, more than likely the 1st round. He did get indication that he was a top pick. He had to. But now there's word coming out, according to Adam.
They're the messy ex everyone warned you about, the one with unresolved baggage and a habit of ruining every family dinner. It's basically a Hallmark movie gone completely wrong. You know the script. The lead dumps the successful big city lawyer fiancé for the humble small town carpenter. Except in this Cleveland version, the carpenter is drunk, the town doesn't have running water, and the family dog just bit the mailman. That's the Browns in this analogy. And Shedeur? Instead of being the wise lead who chooses stability, he looks like the guy who craves pure chaos and the spotlight that comes with it. And the wildest part? The Browns are actually spinning this like it's a victory parade. He wanted us. He chose us, they're screaming, as if Shedeur Sanders just pulled a LeBron and returned to Cleveland in free agency to save the franchise. But let's slow it all the way down. This isn't some superstar hometown reunion. This is a team with a reputation for tossing promising players straight into a blender of dysfunction, then standing around shocked when the end result tastes like burnt toast. If Shedeur truly believes he's going to be the exception, then he's either fearless, delusional, or a wild mix of both. And honestly, that's what makes this saga so addictive. Because let's face it, the Browns don't just ruin quarterbacks, they ruin hope itself.
Come out and basically put out a story that the Baltimore Ravens were going to draft Shedeur Sanders with the 141st pick. And that when Shedeur and his camp found out about it, they told the Ravens no. Like they said, no, we want to go to a place where we have an actual chance of winning, or not necessarily winning, but winning the quarterback job and playing as a rookie, even though it was already in the 5th round. And obviously that would never happen with Lamar Jackson, with the 2-time MVP. He'll be the starter of the Ravens as long as he wants to be, essentially. And I'm kind of torn on this. As I wear my Shedeur Sanders shirt, I'm kind of torn because it's like, Shedeur, it's already the 5th round.
Every season kicks off with shiny optimism, and every season crashes into the same ending. Fans wrapped in frozen blankets, sitting in the snow, staring into the abyss, asking themselves why they keep coming back for punishment. And now Shedeur isn't just Cleveland's quarterback. He's Cleveland's emotional support animal. Fans are about to cling to him like he's the last life raft on the Titanic. Even though history has already told us that in this movie, the iceberg always wins. So why would he really swerve Baltimore? Maybe it wasn't about the Ravens at all. Maybe he didn't want to spend years in the shadows behind Lamar Jackson, collecting dust on the bench while the league forgot his name. And honestly, that's understandable. Every young quarterback wants the spotlight, wants the ball in their hands, wants to show the world they're more than just another clipboard holder. But here's the cruel irony. Sitting behind Lamar might have actually saved his career. Instead, Shedeur dove headfirst into the flames, choosing chaos over patience. It's like picking between learning as an apprentice in a Michelin star kitchen or immediately becoming head chef at a greasy diner where the stove explodes twice a week. That's Cleveland, and he just signed up to cook. Sure, Shedeur's in charge now, but how long before the pressure and pure chaos start eating him alive? Baltimore could have offered steady ground, patient growth, and a safe runway. But Cleveland? That's straight up trial by fire. This team has been wandering through the quarterback desert for decades, chasing mirages that vanish the second fans start to believe. Every so-called oasis turns out to be nothing but sand in the wind, and now Shedeur is the latest mirage they're sprinting toward. He's not just the quarterback, he's the entire face of a city's desperation. And when you're carrying that kind of weight, the fall hits like a collapse from the top rope. Just picture the headlines if he stumbles out of the gate. Browns quarterback bust, another Sanders disaster. Sports talk shows would feast on it, turning every mistake into a national punchline. And of course, all of this shines a blazing spotlight on Shedeur Sanders. Let's be real.
The Ravens pivoted and instead used a pick on offensive lineman Carson Benson. So that's what they're saying here. 3 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Sanders with number 144. So not wanting to back up Lamar Jackson is how some reports phrase it, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee a starter role anywhere else. It's likely meant looking for a situation where he can compete early on in his career. Sanders was still drafted later than many projections expected. That's what I want.
Shedeur isn't the type to sit back quietly with popcorn. He's going to have opinions, he's going to make noise, and he's going to let the world know exactly what he thinks about how his son is being treated. And you can bet he's enjoying every second of it. This Ravens versus Browns soap opera isn't just drama. It's primetime Shedeur content. And you just know he's loving the spotlight shining squarely on the Sanders name. Because here's the wild truth. Every time Shedeur has a bad game, the internet's gonna scream, see, he should have gone to Baltimore. And every time he plays well, You already know Dion will treat it like a full-blown victory parade, marching around like it's proof his son made the right call. That's what makes this whole saga so hilariously dangerous. It's not just about Shedeur's arm talent, it's about the environment he chose, the insane weight of expectations, and the circus tent that follows him wherever he sets foot. It's the perfect setup for one of two outcomes: legendary glory or legendary disaster. And let's be real, in Cleveland, the odds always seem to tilt toward the second one. Meanwhile, the Ravens are probably sitting back, sipping tea with smug little grins, watching this drama unfold like premium cable TV. They don't need Shedeur. They've got Lamar, they've got stability, and they've got zero interest in turning every offseason into a reality show. The fact that he might have actually waved them off, that's just comedic bonus points layered on top of this already insane storyline. And imagine the scene years from now. Shedeur at a press conference, reporters firing off the question, "Do you regret not going to Baltimore?" That's the kind of narrative NFL fans dream about. Long-term, messy, and endlessly replayable. So here we are. Shedeur Sanders allegedly curving the Ravens, choosing Cleveland instead, and landing himself smack in the middle of one of the funniest, most chaotic offseason sagas the NFL has served up in years. It's bold, it's reckless, and it's the exact kind of chaos the NFL lives for. The Browns finally get their shiny new toy to parade around. The Ravens, they just shrug, lean on Lamar, and keep stacking wins like nothing ever happened. And the fans get an endless buffet of drama, memes, and hot takes to argue about until their voices give out. And the craziest part? This is only the warm-up. Shedeur hasn't even thrown a single pass in a Browns jersey yet, and already the story feels like a Hollywood script. Just wait until kickoff. That's when the real comedy, the real chaos, and maybe even the real heartbreak begins. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who loves football drama as much as you do. I'll see you on the next one.